welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. My name's Thomas, back on the channel today with a quick reaction to our last pre-season game. Of course, a 2-0 home victory against Preston North End. Good way to round off the very short pre-season we've had, only 2 games in the end, but a much improved performance than what we saw against Blackpool. So I've got a couple of talking points I'm just going to go through now. As always with all these videos, do let us know your thoughts about the game in the comments down below. Of course, we started off with a much weakened side because of the international games. A lot of players are away, such as Jordan Pickford, Michael Keane, Moise Keane's away, Besic, even if you want to count him, players like that. So we started off with a weakened side, which meant the opportunity for Harry Tyra to come into the team. Very impressive, made a couple of really decent saves that kept a clean sheet. Which Ancelotti will be very pleased with. If he was looking, to take his chance, I think he did really well. Probably one of my stand-up performers alongside Niels Nkunku. Very comfortable on the ball. I've been very impressed with him across both pre-season friendly games. He looked like, he was more than happy to just play his own game. He wasn't stressed by, sometimes young players come in and they're quite nervous. They try and play more reserved as to not make any mistakes. But Nkunku very happy to, try and beat his man, get down the wing. Very impressive. And then kind of just into the goal now. Started off really early on, only 6, 7 or 8 minutes in. John Joe Kenny manages to get really far forwards and manages to bundle it over the line. Not the cleanest of goals, not the prettiest of goals, but I'm impressed with the ability of John Joe Kenny to get up that far. I think our fullbacks are going to have to provide a lot of width potentially. We are bringing in 3 traditional central midfielders, so potentially if we move to a midfield diamond, we're going to be looking to the fullbacks more often. Glad to see Kenny get forwards. Not the cleanest of goals, but a really good move to get there in the first place. And we put together quite a few really decent passing moves today, which I was impressed with. A lot of quite slick passing, which we haven't seen. We had the occasional kind of passing back to the keeper, which Ancelotti wasn't happy with, but that was only a couple of times, so very impressed with the general build-up play. Then eventually Kenny actually moves into centre-back because Holgate picked up an injury while Preston were counter-attacking. He went for a challenge, came off worse, straight down the tunnel. Didn't look like a brilliant, obviously no injury is brilliant, but it didn't look great. Kyle John came on for him, who didn't have a lot to do, but impressed with the way he filled in at right back as well. Preston then kind of began to grow into the game a bit more. They were kind of absent for the first 15, 20 minutes, but then they started putting together a bit more possession. But as I mentioned, Harry Tyra was more than equal to anything they kind of came forwards with. A couple of counter-attacks, which, didn't really challenge the defence. So impressed, players like Gibson came in, John Joe Kenny playing out of position, Kyle John. You might expect a bit of shakiness in defence. Maybe a couple of times, a couple of them were called out of position, but overall very impressive. Bernard played in a more central role, which I was very impressed with. Him and Gordon, because obviously we're kind of lacking central midfielders at the moment. Remarkably, we may sign Decore and Hammers, and obviously Allen didn't take part, having only signed today. Bernard played centrally. I was very impressed with him on the ball. Looked to be getting involved a lot more than he did last season. He was more than happy to dictate the play at times. Seemed to be a kind of a form of a 4-3-3, which we might see going into this season. Obviously, starting Walcott out on the right with Charleston on the left. We could see that with the signing of Allen and potentially, of course, the signings of James and Decore. Very impressed with that. Then, obviously, the second goal, again, kind of bundled over the line, but the move to get there in the first place, I was very impressed with. A lot of really actually good kind of technical passing play, which we didn't see at times last season. There was sometimes where the link-up just wasn't there, but it definitely was today. So overall, Nkunku was probably my man of the match, probably the player I'm most impressed with. And to be honest, I was impressed with the performance as a whole. Of course, it is a very weakened side due to the international games, as I mentioned, but the players who came into the team seemed to hold the road. Yannick Bolasie came on later on, had a debatable miss where Richarlison pulled it back. Yannick Bolasie must have only been 2 or 3 yards out. Absolutely fluffed it, managed to kick it backwards. But, he's probably going to be out the door. He's probably just trying to build up his fitness, potentially. Ancelotti putting him in the shop window to try and get rid of him in the summer. Not much to be said about Yannick Bolasie's performance. Broke into the box a couple of times, but didn't have too much of an impact on the game. So that's all from me for this game. Of course, it's not really too much you can go into for a pre-season friendly. Not too much you can read into about tactics or the players that start, and especially because of the absentees. But next game, of course, is our first game of the season against Tottenham Hotspur. So this is the end, effectively, of our pre-season content. John will have a player ratings video that will be going up as well. So let me know who your man of the match was. Let me know how you thought we performed in this game. Check out all our social media as well. Bringing you plenty of transfer content at the moment, with it all kind of kicking off in the past week. So thank you very much for watching, and join us next time on the Toffee Blues.